So if you didn't guess already, this fanfiction idea is a Gravity Falls AU based off of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is going to be an oddball one, but I swear it's going to, it's going to make sense in a bit. So anyway, let's get started. So, let's just hit the ground running and start the story. So the story begins with, this is a much different take. See, it's not set in London, it is still set in Gravity Falls, but it is post-Civil War. And the Pines family has been kind of, like, they were rich, but they also kind of backed the wrong horse during the Civil War. And the Pines' parents have both died from tuberculosis, leaving Dipper and Mabel as the sole the sole heirs to the to the Pines' fortune, or what's left of it. And Stan has welcomed them to his mansion, and which is not a mystery shack; it's just a regular mansion. And Dipper and Mabel are much different in here. You see, Dipper, as he's known as his real name, Mason. Mason was free. It was thanks to his father's connections, was allowed not to join the Confederate Army instead of being drafted. But however, he served on as a doctor in hospitals near the town he was in near the town they used to live in. So he would go in as a doctor, and as a surgeon, he would patch up people the best he could. But however, there was an alternative method to all of this. There was a alternative point to all of this. You see, Dipper was very curious about the good and evil of man. Like, he saw that, he would actually, go out into the world and go to Union camps pretending to be, a Union doctor and patch people up, just so he could get both sides of the story and try to understand why these good men were, unleashing just unspeakable evil on one another. Like, just the hatred and absolute brutality they were having on one another. It was baffling to him, and he was he was curious about how this could all be done. But the only thing he could think of was, well, obviously, if we would be spared this bloody war if we could separate our evil side, the evil from within us. The other thing was, he was not a big fan of his family's work, shall we say, work practice, which was not good. Dipper had no interest in owning slaves or owning like a cotton field. He wanted to be a scientist. He wanted to further expand his mind, like his Uncle Ford up in New York, but he was forbidden because science is the devil. But Mason continued his work and would secretly send letters to his great Uncle Ford in order to better understand the mind and the malady between good and evil. That line between a good man and a villainous one, and see how they could separate it. It was, in Ford's eyes, it was pseudoscience, but his great nephew was curious about science and not wanting to be a slave owner like his parents were. So that was so he just thought, well, maybe he'll take up a role of psychology and do better than his parents, and maybe we could do better than that. The other thing that got him into this was seeing just the absolute evil that his family, outside of his sister, could inflict on others. Stan wanted no part of it, any of this, so that's why he moved to the Oregon Territory with his money. But he saw, but when Dipper was still with his parents, he just saw the absolute cruelty, the staff on hand could do to the people they owned, and it always made him weird. It's like, if we're so great, why do we feel the need to own people? Furthermore, why do we need to, inflict harm on them? And again, it just kind of led back to this whole theory of, good and evil. So Mabel is encouraging, curious, but also encouraging him, but also with a warning, you always hear those stories isn't this a cautionary tale? There was a man in Europe who did the same thing, only he brought back the dead. He tried to bring back, he made a monster, and he's like, oh, don't be stupid, this is nothing like that. So when they get to the Oregon Territory to restart their lives with Stan, the Northwests are already there. They are still the founding member, or the founding family of Gravity Falls. Not, in here it's not the missing president. It's the straight up Northwest family. So from here, the Northwests are financially competing with the Pines, who are already like economically crippled because the Pines family didn't know which side to really work for. Obviously, they obviously backed the wrong horse. So from there, Dipper's he now has a whole room to himself. In the mansion, he has a whole room to himself and makes his own little personal laboratory. And Stan, while he's trying to be supportive, is like, this is kind of fucked up. The other thing is, too, Mabel's kind of noticed that, like, hey, you're kind of getting real chummy with one of the maids, and that maid is Wendy. In here, the Corduroys do serve the Pines. Wendy's one of the is a housemaid, and her father is the groundskeeper for the Northwest. I keep trying to say Northwest, for the Pines Manor. But Dipper continues to work on his serum in private, days on end. He is, trying desperately to unlock that one thing, just that one thing that could help him, achieve the power, steal fire from the gods. And one night, he achieves it by experimenting on his sister's favorite pig, Waddles. And he made the pig rabid. The pig turned rabid. It became like a feral boar that had to be shot and killed and later eaten. This is a pretty fucked up story. We're just started. Anyway, so after seeing that and having no other animals to experiment on, Dipper takes the needle, experiments on himself, and on that night he's like, I don't feel great. And then he starts to feel himself slip away, and out comes Bill Cipher. In here, Bill Cipher isn't like a triangle. He's, like I said, he's our Mr. Hyde of the story. And in here, what Bill looks like is, he looks a lot like Dipper, but he has blonde hair. His eyes are more yellowish. His skin is also a little more like a pale yellow in complexion, and he also has his fingernails are stretched out like claws a bit. So, yeah, and he also has sharper teeth, so he's a little more animal-like. So, Bill goes out, finally free of his good self, and goes out into the world. The first thing he does is just start a fight go to a local bar, start a fight, get drunk, and then go home. And Dipper the next day wakes up and he feels like he could take on the world. And he also gets a letter from Bill who says, "Hello, brother. My name is Bill, and I am the fruits of your labor. Every night when you allow me out, I shall carry out every wicked deed that you cannot in your dirty little mind." So Dipper's like, hell yeah, let's keep doing this. So Wendy, of course, is a little worried because now she's seeing this other guy go in and out of the mansion, and Dipper says, well, my experiments needed some extra hands, so I hired an assistant out of town named Bill Cipher. You were to treat him as a member of this mansion. So Bill's going out every night, causing all kinds of wicked stuff, and it just kind of gets more and more egregious, where he beats a man to death. He steals a carriage and uses it to run over some children. Bill is just doing more and more egregious stuff, and it's getting to the point where Dipper's starting to lose time. And even when he's not taking when he's not injecting himself with the serum, he's finding himself slipping away and letting Bill out. He's afraid to sleep. Eventually, it gets to the point where he has to tell Mabel about everything, and they have you have to go to Stan right now. And they're like, Stan will lock me in an asylum, even if he does believe me. And that's when Bill forces himself out and attacks Mabel. Mabel has to fight him off, and Bill runs amok throughout the mansion, even grabbing Stan and throwing him out the window and killing him throwing him out, and he hits the fence on the outside of the mansion. From there, Mabel now has to like stop Bill from, wreaking all kinds of just untold bloody havoc throughout the mansion, leading her to grab a pistol, and that's when Dipper tries to wrench control from Bill over his body, and he's like, Mabel, you gotta shoot, Bill. He's basically like, Mabel, now, shoot me, kill me now. Shoots him in the head, they both die, and that's the end of it. Or would you believe? So, after burying Dipper and saying that his assistant, they basically throw the cover story that Dipper's assistant, Bill Cipher, got drunk and went mad and killed a lot of people in his mansion massacre, including her brother. The next day, Mabel goes to pay her respects to her brother's grave, but finds it dug up and the grave empty. It's revealed that someone took the body, and she goes to talk to a local gravekeeper, and she said, "Who took my brother's body?" And he goes, some count from Mexico, some Don Marco Diaz." Or, as in this continuity, he goes by the alias Count Dracula. So there you go. So we're kind of building. If you guys want this story to continue, we're going to do like our own like Disney AU Universal monster story. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.